Hey guys, it's Will. So we just wrapped up our daily live trading session inside of StockMate, and we were trading BigBear AI. We saw this setup this morning, and we're up, locked in a little bit over $300 profit here on the move. And if you ever want to join us live in those daily live sessions, see the trades in real time, it's the second link in the description to watch me trade live. And we'll be there tomorrow morning at market open. So if you want to be there tomorrow, again, it's the second link below. So why we're trading Big Bear and how are things going today? Well, first of all, even though our portfolio is up a tad, we did have some shorts on IonQ. We saw it correct back up, or you could say push back up after yesterday. It was down quite a bit, and we were able to make some money on the shorts. We see it push up a little bit here after we do see a government shutdown today. So we saw a shutdown in the U.S. government. The United States government just shut down, announced this morning, and Congress failed to reach a deal on some critical things they were working on there. So government shutdown. House will return to D.C. next week. In history, most of the time, the market has actually gone up when the government shutdowns kick in. In fact, what we see here, this is what we were watching with Big Bear. We saw this recent downtrend. It was downtrending, and we spotted this move yesterday. It was starting to break pattern from this very consistent downtrend here, and it was starting to consolidate to the right and even break out of trend. So we ended up buying Big Bear yesterday at market open after this spike here, and we bought down about 15-20 minutes after the market had opened. And then we held it throughout today or yesterday and then into today. And as you can see here, we do see that breakout continue. It's made that run of about 8% up into that $7 price point. So it's a nice short-term trade that we're able to make alongside the long-term holdings for Big Bear. So there's three things we need to go over when it comes to Big Bear. The first thing is going to be the market. We see a government shutdown. That's the news today. But when we look at the movements right now, you could see that the defense contracts are plentiful. We're seeing more defense contracts. And the CEO of Big Bear previously worked as acting secretary of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Okay. And also the acting secretary or the commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. So when we're looking at focusing on counterterrorism, all of these things, and looking at now the CEO of Big Bear, this technology that they're deploying, this very scan technology into airports, is seeing what could be a defense demand. It's funny, people think of defense and they think of big weapons and massive tanks and big guns. But when we're talking about the US defense, how important is it that they have data, right? And so data is a key solution. So Big Bear AI, they have AI for a rapidly evolving world, and they focus specifically on the infrastructure for national security and primarily in the intelligence space, in AI-driven analytics, and working with AI solutions to enhance security, resilience, and decision making. So this morning, what we're looking at in this move is while we've seen this this trade play out good so far, it's still it's a support level in a greater recovery. And so while the market is recovering today, and we see some pushes up here over in AI defense. You see Black Sky is up 6%, Big Bear is up 6.8%. The market itself is seeing some momentum now. So now that we're in this trade, what we could do is actually we can we can move up a stop loss here. Okay, so we can, I think, what do we do? Do we click this here and we can move a stop loss. I don't know. Oh, let's see. I think we just right click up here, set stop. So we could set a stop up here, lock in our profits of about $300 on the day. We already have long-term positions it's a good profit for a $4,200 position, and we'll put in that stop market order there, and we'll be watching to see if it can continue that trend. Really, what we're looking at now is that was the support here. Now there's a resistance here at about $7 a share that they just recently spiked to $7.03. So we're looking for this previous support level and resistance level to act as a support over here around $7 a share. Now, I would love to see them hold that level and continue up as we have a position going, but we also want to lock in the profits, make sure we continue to see those profits, and we don't want to lose money. So we're going to set a stop market order there in case it starts to correct down or can't hold that $7 range. But ultimately, we're looking for it to hold this $7 range, potentially make this run back up into this 730, 750, and kind of do similar to what we saw back here about a week ago. So we're going to watch there on the levels. But before we get into exactly how we're going to manage this trade, when we're looking at the financials, we talked about this yesterday. The financials are really good on the balance sheet as they've increased their assets. But when you look on their net income, they're negative. Now, we went over some articles that came out while their revenue has been increasing year over year, even if it's just only a few percentage points. The people inside of StockMate, which is our community here of investors, where we have our targets, we got communities. There was a really good article from Michael Clark we went over yesterday in StockMate. As I mentioned, some of the best insights that we bring to the channel come from you guys here. So comment your thoughts below, but also inside of StockMate too. And when I'm searching up, this was Michael Clark, and he was talking about an alternative perspective. And he talked about why that negative net income wasn't as it's not as a destructive earnings report that came out as what the reality actually is. So the reality is actually much less destructive. Less destructive, and that their financials, they're actually seeing some momentum building. They got more cash on hand, and then recently, aside from the very scan tech with all that data, they also have the Pangium, the TSA stuff, and then they recently signed some contracts. Whether it was the U.S. Navy they're working with, the recent deployment into Nashville, or there was a $160 million Army contract. And so their backlog, I think, is over 300 million. And the upcoming World Cup here most likely will drive the need for the U.S. government to want to get their hands on all of that data. And so that's where we see the growth continue for the company, and also how they're working in the Panama Canal. So that brings us to then financials, not as bad as they look maybe. We're seeing more cash. We're kind of watching these levels here on the revenue, but where we're looking for the best case scenario here is that they're able to continue this trend. So we got a lot of lines here. Let me get rid of these lines. I know that some people have bought around $8 a share or what have you. But if we really go and we look at this stock, it's still up from, $1 a share. We started covering it back in October 2024, and it's all the way up from $1 to $7 a share today. So it's still in a really good spot. Now, these corrections oftentimes do happen when you see momentum and euphoria go high up to $10 and sell back down, because at those moments, it's trading at where it's going to be years from now. So then we see the technicals really start to heat up. And then if we look at this recent move here, there was a few reasons why we were looking fairly bullish. If you look at the key levels that we're watching right now, okay, you have this left to right, you have this rising support level, then you have the moving averages. And so today we see it see that blue line there. So the blue line oftentimes is going to act as a support, that EMA, when it's bullish. Now it went bearish here, and we saw peak out at 850 back in September 23rd. From September 23rd, after that big run from beginning of September from $4 up to $8 by the 23rd, then we saw it sell back down all the way until really about yesterday or today. And then today, we saw it find that $6.50, $6 support and bounce up over the EMA. So now it's surging above the EMA. So average is now looking more bullish. You see some green candlesticks kick in, and now we're no longer in that very strong bear movement we saw down from September 23rd until basically yesterday. Now, October 1st, we see it push back into that green territory, and we're going to watch to see if it can hold above that EMA. So that EMA, that continued uptrend, that we maybe see it have the ability to, again, maybe make this run up into the nearest resistance there around $7.50, $7.25, $7.50 range, and make runs potentially if it can get there back up. Now, if you look on the near term, today's move, I'm setting a stop loss there, right? But if you look on the RSI and the MACD, it's almost expected that we would see a pullback here if it can't hold that $7 price point there, that new resistance that it might use as a support, which oftentimes resistance will act as a support. That if they can't break there, you do have to look at the RSI, you look at the MACD, because you could see they're overbought at the moment. It looks like a correction might be due to sell back down into that $6.75 range. And, we could see that happen. And now the question is, throughout the day with the government shutdown, it's weird, but certain things happen. I wonder why. It's probably institutions where when fear is heaviest, the markets seem to elude it and move, right? When COVID was hitting and everybody's freaking out and the market was dipping, boom, it had recovered in a couple of days, and they're like, whoa, we missed it. We missed this massive move. Government shutdown hits right around when market optimism is actually shifting towards more bearish this past week or so. And after a big run, then people are saying, oh, we might see a pullback. So when this happens, a lot of times we're actually watching closely to look for those bull trend moves. Why they happen now? It's just the way that the institutions have found the fear, the greed, indexes. Probably they're thinking of the institutions right now and how retail investors react. It's a good time to potentially buy into stocks. And so that's also following what we normally see as a dip in September. So maybe we see some of the things kick in to the end of the year, as we do see some recoveries today, despite the government shutdown. So we're going to be watching really closely, again, that $7 level, because it's a key level to watch as a potential support, as it's kind of holding there. If so, great, we can continue this shorter term position on top of our longer term positions and maybe lock in more than about $300 profit. And if, again, you want to see those opportunities, we trade defense, quantum, semiconductors, and we trade data center stocks, AI stocks in StockMate. So today we're up about 3%. If you'd ever wanted to learn and have somebody there with you at market open each morning, we are there in that live session, and you can join us in the second link below, and I'll send over a free t-shirt to you anywhere in the world. So I appreciate you all. Thanks so much for tuning in. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.